Welcome back. As you know, I've just completed the A100. That was last week. It's now Sunday evening. I'm pretty much feel pretty recovered. My Whoop strap says I've still got a bit more sleeping to do. My heart variability is not quite right yet, but yeah, feeling good. I went out for a cheeky little bike ride today. I couldn't resist it. I'm going to have 2 weeks off and recover. That is the plan. But firstly, been amazing response to the race video I posted, and it's been really great. I think at the moment, I don't know how many views we've got. For me, it's huge, 620 views. I know it probably doesn't sound a lot in the terms of YouTube, but for me, it's fantastic. So thanks so much, and 49 likes, eh? So brilliant. Thank you so much for everyone who's watched. Remember, please subscribe. Please ring that bell. If you want to hear more from me, I've got some really good up and coming training videos coming up for my next race, so we'll talk about that later. Anyway, today I'm just going to do a debrief on the A100 and just talk about what went badly, what went well, and could anything have been better, and just run through it really. So the A100, it's a Centurion race. As you can see, it's an out and back 4 times. They're 4 different out and backs, 25 miles each out and back. So you can kind of pace yourself quite well. You can also have a drop bag. Obviously you'll have a drop bag at the center because it's in Goring, so you're going to go out and come back to your drop bag each time. It's very, very flat. There were a few hills, but nothing really too technical, anything really. So I'd say it was a very flat, fast race. And the biggest fear I had was running the whole thing. I did really, really well, really well. I smashed my time. I aimed for 1950 and I did it in 1907. So 19 hours, 7 minutes. I came 13th. So that's really good. I think I came 4th or 5th in my category because I'm over 40, 47 years old. So yeah, did really, really well. So I'm really pleased about that. Awesome race. So what went badly? I think firstly, the night before I was really stressed out. Should have prepared earlier. It's really hard with the kids and work and everything like that, but hey, you know, you can only do what you can do. Also had to post a video out, which again, loads of people have watched, so that's great. That's going to be put up there as well if you haven't seen it. So yeah, pretty stressed out. I need to get myself more organized, maybe 2 weeks before, just start getting your kit together, but hey, there we go. Would have helped. But I got there on time. In the morning, you know, woke up, there was no problems with that. I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to that, so that was okay. One of the big things I did do was when I opened my drop bag up, forgot my notes. I had these pacing notes. I just totally forgot them. I also had some notes written down of what I was going to do every time I got to an aid station. So I was going to empty my bag, you know, my pack, get rid of all the rubbish, fill it up with all my nutrition, eat some food, get my battery for my GoPro, things like that, you know, and I forgot that. I can't believe it. But the good thing is I'd already done it, so I had it in my head what I had to do, you know, the 4-hour first out and back, and then about 4 hours 40, the next out and back, then 5 hours 10, the next hour back, out and back, and then 6 hours. So I knew in my head what I had to do, and that was really enough. So maybe this was a bit too much, but hey, would have been nice to have that. I took far too much food with me in my drop bag. I bought half of the Sainsbury's or whatever supermarket I went to, Co-op, and I bought half, emptied all the shelves, so I didn't really need all of that. Panic buyed really, but anyway, it's always good to have a few things. But yeah, that was a bit daft and a bit costly, so I shouldn't have done that. During the race, I got lost. On the final section, there's quite a bit of road and you go through this residential part, and I was really, really dipping, really, really tired, walking up the small little hills, didn't feel well. And I basically started following this chap who I thought had done it before, but he hadn't, and that was daft, and I should have just focused. And the guy I was running with, or he came up behind, he actually went back and found the course. And we ended up, if you look at my Strava, you'll see, but we ended up kind of following it parallel. On my GPX watch, I didn't run with navigation because there was no need because it's so well signed, but I basically, yeah, just don't know, the GPX course was going parallel with me, but there was a railway track there, and we carried on going, and in the end we kind of veered off a bit, and then we found, fortunately, a little railway bridge which we could nip under, and we came back onto the Thames path, and we were so pleased. And that at that point was pretty cool because I met up with my final sort of buddy at the end, a guy called Lee, and we ran together the last bit. So kind of, in a way, it kind of worked out really well, but at the time you thought, oh no, another 20-30 minutes, that would have ruined my time. Definitely definitely would have ruined my time. So got to focus more, follow those signs. You're told to do that at the beginning. Totally clear. Follow the signs. If you don't see the signs after a while, go back to the last sign you last saw. It's so obvious, but you make stupid decisions when you're tired. Anyway, learn from that. So what other things? Cold hands. I got really, really cold hands. We had a rainstorm come in. I got really cold hands. The problem is I wanted to use my GoPro, and with the gloves I've got, they're quite thick, so I wouldn't have been able to use both of them. I mean, sorry, the hat, with gloves on. So I ended up and I ended up getting really, really cold hands, and that was pretty uncomfortable for a good 2 or 3 hours, and I wish I'd done that, so that was not so good. Didn't get any blisters on my feet during the race, but when I took my Injinji socks off, the toe socks, you do get blisters. It's a myth if you think you wear them and you don't get blisters. You do. Over 100 miles, my feet, I took a photo of my feet. If I can find it, I'll post it. But my feet looked absolutely trashed, but they actually were pretty good. I didn't lose any toenails. I've got 2 big blisters on my toes. They didn't pop or anything like that. So my feet really behaved. Obviously my feet were sore from being on 100 miles, but the blisters, I could have done with something more, maybe cream my feet, maybe halfway, done something with that, because if it was a harder race, out on your feet for maybe 24 to 28 hours, definitely they would have turned nasty. So probably got away with that one. Last checkpoint, focus. Didn't focus enough. I went in, I was tired, didn't have a checklist as I said, came out, I'd done everything I needed to do apart from I forgot my GoPro battery, which I was gutted about, because then I was only on 30% on my GoPro, and you just don't know when those things are going to dump the battery and they just cut out, and I wouldn't be able to film the end. So it's a real sad thing, because you made a really big effort throughout the whole thing to kind of film it, and at the end it all became a bit anyway. There we go. Got to remember, focus on the last checkpoint. That's probably the hardest checkpoint to get to, and you've got to be prepped up for that. So got to remember that one. Pack. Yeah, get organised. So I ran with a Salomon Advanced Skin 12. First time I've ever used it. Really impressed. Really good pack. Not going to go into too much detail now, but it's just getting used to it, really, getting more organised. There was a point where I lost 2 jellies, because I was running with Mountain Fuel jellies. I hadn't lost them. They were just in the back here. And I actually took my pack off. I was faffing about with it and I couldn't find them. But yeah, they're in the back. Anyway, just getting used to the pack, really. Loads of different pockets. I really enjoyed running with it. There's a little bit of bounce on the bottles, which I think is kind of well known for these, but that was okay. But I did get a really bruised rib on the right hand side, but I was wearing my GoPro sort of in the pocket here quite often, and maybe the extra weight on that was bouncing, but both my ribs here were pretty sore towards the end, which wasn't pleasant. I had to kind of lift the pack off a bit. But, hey, it was nice and light. It did really well, so I really recommend that. It's probably the best pack I've run in, to be fair, for this type of event, because it's quite lightweight and quite slick. Anyway, got my sore ribs, so that wasn't so good. So those are kind of the bad things. I mean, the race went really, really well. Couldn't really complain about anything. I got my pacing bang on. As I said, I timed I was aiming for 1950 and did it in 1907. The first stage, I ran out with 2 friends. And I was following Alessandro, and he ended up doing it in sub 19 hours. He came 10th, so he pushed me along quite a bit for the first 2 sections. But towards the end of the second section, I knew he was starting to get faster than me, so I just pulled back a little bit, because my goal was to get just under 20 hours, right? And I kept that in my mind throughout, even towards the end. When I walked, I thought, there's no point killing myself, just to get that 19 hour. I'm not fussed about that. I just wanted to get sub 20, and you just don't know what's going to happen. You could blow up, you could be sick, get massive blisters or anything like that. So I just focused on that sub 20. I eased back a little bit towards the end, and that was absolutely fine. So I got my pacing bang on, and I was so happy about that. So that went really, really well for me. Nutrition wise, yeah, I'd say I did really well as well. I took some rice balls. Someone's asked me in the comments on my previous video what I had in my rice balls. They were just basmati rice, some egg, some ground up bacon mixed together. That was it. A bit of olive oil. That was all they were. And they worked out really well. I actually ate them in each time. The last sort of section I felt a bit ill, but I forced 3 down. So I probably had 3 rice balls each section. So that was really good. That worked out well for a bit of savoury. I was using Mountain Fuel jellies. Really good. In fact, I didn't really get sick of them at all. They're just a really fresh, when they go in your mouth, they just feel quite tasty and fresh. And even at the end, I was taking them. And I had the Mountain Fuel in my in my bottles as well. I diluted that towards the end a little bit. And I also used some Spring Energy gels, and well, are they gels? They're real foods, and they were excellent, and I'm really happy about that. So I'm going to explore them a little bit more. But I got a bit nauseous, probably, I don't know, probably about 3/4 of the way through, started feeling a bit sick, but nothing like I used to. Didn't take on as much water as I wanted to, but I didn't feel I needed to. And I, went to the toilet a few times for a pee. That was fine. I went to the toilet properly once. So that was all good. That was just natural, no problems, no dramas. So I was really happy about my nutrition. I must keep the nutrition up towards the end though. You really do fall apart, deteriorate, and you've really got to focus on that. I spoke to my coach the other day, and he said that when he was doing UTMB, he was doing 2 gels an hour. He ended up doing like 52 gels or something like that. Crazy, eh? But he was on his nutrition right to the end. And that is something I'm going to take away from this, is really get on that nutrition. I picked up a buddy, so that was great. I ran with this guy, Lee. You know who he is if you've watched this. It's brilliant. We ran the last sort of section together. He pulled me along. He had a quicker shuffle than me, so he pulled me along. He's almost like my pacer, but we got on really well. And I love that about ultras. That's one of the best things. You always pick up someone. You always speak to someone. If that I am anyway. I like to chat and I like to speak to people. And we had a great time. And it was really, really tough. We had lots of moans and groans. Our legs were absolute agony towards the end. But we pushed each other. We did a bit of walking. Then we G'd each other up to get going again. And that was one of the best parts of the race for me. I love the out and back. I didn't think I'd enjoy it. And a few people have said, oh, God, you've got to do out and back. But actually it was great. You run past runners who you see them all the time. You say hi. People are, going, come on, mate, keep going, give you encouragement. And I love that. And also seeing, God, amazing. Some of the people, what they put themselves through, doing 28 hours, the cutoff. So people are right up to the end running, and they had another sort of 9 hours more to do than I did. And fantastic. Well done to all of you. Really good. But I love seeing all the runners, the good runners, the winner coming through. You saw him running, absolutely fantastic. The first lady coming through, she was brilliant, really strong runner. And it's really nice to see the real top level runners coming through, but also you see sort of the end, people who are really struggling. Maybe it's their first 100, maybe they're sort of over 50, over 60 even. Well done, hats off to you, brilliant, loved it. So that made my race really for the A100, and I'd recommend that race if you like, to get out and do it. It's a really good one to do your first 100 mile as well. But hey, that was pretty good. So that went really well. Extras, which I think possibly would have made it even better. I'd like to have changed my clothes maybe a couple of times, maybe take a couple of tops. I don't really have many running tops, just affordability really. So I'd like to maybe have a couple of change of clothes, but I'm pretty tired and I just want to get in and out of the aid stations pretty quickly. I did that really well. I mean, one aid station is in and out in about 8 minutes. So I'm really trying to get out quickly as possible. So I would have liked to change my clothes, maybe change my shoes if I was lucky enough to have another pair of Torrent 2s, which I ran in, the Hoka ones. So that would have been really good. Change my socks, yeah, but I, to be honest, I can't really be bothered half the time. So I just get on with it. So fitness-wise was really good. I trained from the mid-August. Had 2 months pretty much break of any exercise, just doing weights and stuff like that. And then I ended up starting in the middle of August, so I trained for a good 2.5 months for this. Would have liked to have done 4 months of training for this, definitely, and probably a bit more higher mileage as well, and that might have got me to the end. My worst part is when I get to 30 miles. My hips really hurt, but you kind of get over that kind of initial hit. That's kind of your wall, I guess, in ultras, and then you just ups and downs all the way. But that could have even better. So yeah, and really I don't know where my naked belt is. I had a belt, naked belt has vanished since the marathon, so that would have been really handy to have that, just to put some bits and pieces in. But hey, absolutely fantastic race. Loved it, really, really good. So the plan going forward is going to take nice recovery now. I haven't done any running this week. I'm not going to run next week. I went for a nice little bike ride today, just for an hour, just to move. Going to do a bit of Pilates next week, and I'm just going to have a nice 2 weeks off, get the recovery really, really good, and then I'm going to start training for my next event. I think I'd like to look at increasing my speed more. I have quite a slow shuffle. I noticed that in this race, quite a few people have they got a really slow pace, but my slow pace was quite a bit slower. I was trying to run I thought I was doing like a 9-minute to 10-minute mile. I looked at my watch, I'm doing like an 11.5 to 12-minute mile, and you feel like you're kind of moving, so it's a really slow shuffle, isn't it? And being such a flat race, you had to run all the time, so I've never had that kind of feel. So yeah, I think I'm going to like to work out in my training how I can just get a bit faster, for my sort of my lowest speed is a bit quicker, if you know what I mean. So that would be good. But yeah, just recover really well now and relax, and I'll be good. So, plan of action. My next race is the Arc of Attrition, which is 100 miles around the Cornish coast. It goes out from Coverack all the way to Porthtowan, I think it's called. I did it last year, came 9th. So this year I want to just get a good time. I'd love to go sub 24. I did 25 hours 50 or something like that. So I'd love to go sub 24, but it depends on the weather, depends on the day, depends on everything. So that's my next training block. Hopefully you've been following some of my training updates for A100. I'm going to do the same again, so please subscribe, please ring that bell, get that bell pushed so you get notifications when I post something up. And yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say about the A100. It's my third Centurion buckle. It's my 4th buckle I've got from doing my 100, so it's my 4th 100. I do really enjoy them. I think the more you do them, the more you get better experience, and it's well worth giving them a go. So if you can get an opportunity to get your training going and build up to something like that, it's fantastic. So there we go, that's enough from me. Thanks so much for watching. Again, please subscribe, please leave any comments, and thanks so much for your support.